You had a... Is there any reason you're applauding for yourself?
That's right. I do have a reason to applaud myself.
Did you do anything special this weekend?
I sure did, Debbie.
Hang out with anyone special?
I don't know, maybe Mariah Carey.
Mariah who?
Mariah Carey.
Like Mariah Carey?
No, not Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey, one Carey. Mariah Carey and I hung out a little bit. Well, I'm not going to tell you what we did. We hung out, and there was a little something that we made. I brought you a gift. I'm going to tell everybody what we did. We decorated cookies, but there's so much more to it than that.
Well, I mean, you go way back. So you have a lot of history
Mariah
there.
Forever. So anyway, coming up in the show a little bit later on, I'm going to tell you what we did. I'm going to show you what we did. And we may have a few cookies to share amongst
that's exciting. Cookies from Mariah Carey's house?
Just saying.
That's amazing.
I did. That's why I was applauding myself.
I love it. You and Mariah go back like babies with pacifiers.
That is...
Anyone who knows Mariah Carey's music knows what I just said. Do you know someone who's
Fox over here?
Often confused for Mariah Carey? Every time you hear her sing, it's like they sound exactly the same.
Ooh.
Kim. Yeah, and she's here today. She has a solution for a problem that we all encounter, don't you, Kim?
I do, Debbie. You know, it is so annoying to get that static cling you put on your clothes, and it's all clingy all over you, and it gets even worse this time of year. Well, I've got some great DIY tips that are going to help you get rid of static stat.
Wow.
Nice. Oh, I see what she did there. Static.
Yeah.
Stat.
Yeah. It's...
Leave the bad dad jokes up to
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. That's dangerous territory, Kim, if you go into that area. By the way, joining you is LZ, who is going to show us different ways to wear this season's hottest pattern. Right, LZ?
Now, I bet you both can't imagine what's this season's hottest pattern. Wait, plaid? Plaid, that's right. Coming up, I'm going to show you some really unique, stylish ways to make strong style statements in
Plaid.
That's adorable. No static cling there. I love that. Well, as you all know, we here love animals, big and small, and we would love to end pet homelessness. So our Pet Project initiative is partnering up with animal shelters all across our country to find every animal a forever home. And joining us with today's adoptable dog is our pet rescue expert, Larissa. Who do you have for us today, Larissa?
Hands off. She's mine. I'm in love with this girl. This is Delia. She is a 9-month-old golden retriever. Look at that face. Is that not the most beautiful face you have ever seen? Now, she is a purebred. She came from a breeder in California who then brought her into a rescue center because she was born with hip dysplasia on the right side of her back hip, and they no longer wanted her. So the rescue, who is an amazing rescue, Delaney's dog here in LA, is working with her, and they're raising some money. They're going to get her hip taken care of, and she won't know the difference, and she gets around on it now, and she will even better once she has her surgery. She is a puppy, so she's got that puppy energy. She's a little goofy, and she's just a little uncoordinated when you find her running around. She's knocking things over. It's adorable, and she's available at Delaney'sDog.com.
Larissa, you are amazing. I would like to see, there's so many favorite segments that we have on this show from my personal viewpoint, whether we're in the kitchen cooking. I love Shirley's segments. I learned so much from her. Lawrence, I learned fashion. But I have to say, your Happy Tales segments and that portion of what you do is so heartwarming and so important. And you have another one for us.
Yeah, I think Delia isn't quite as in love with the Happy Tales segment. She's trying to go over there and play. Yes, Buddy. You might remember Buddy. He was a little guy who had been at a rescue for a long time. Buddy was from the Valley Animal Haven in Lemoore, California. And we did our show and featured him, and their local paper wrote about it. And he was adopted the next day. And you can see that sign that they made for us as well, thanking us for Buddy finding a home. And he brings us to 481 animals that we have featured.
That's amazing.
That have been able to find loving homes. Awesome.
A lot of that is thanks to you. Thank you so much, Larissa. That makes me feel all warm and fuzzy.
That's why I said what I said. It really is so important. And you know how much I love Kim's segments.
Yeah.
So I mean, really.
That dog is going home with her.
You know what makes me feel warm and fuzzy as well? Being in the kitchen and eating delicious persimmon pie. Nancie McDermott is here with us today. She's a cookbook author, she's a food writer, and a much sought after cooking instructor. And today, she is here to make her very famous North Carolina Persimmon Pie. Please welcome back to our home, Nancie.
This sounds awesome.
Smells so good. Also joining us at the counter, the beautiful star of Life in Pieces, Giselle Eisenberg, and you're going to make fondue for us a little bit later.
I know.
So excited. Her family's recipe. All right, Nancie. So you are a regular contributor to Southern Living magazine.
That's right.
You write for them quite a bit and share recipes. Well, they came to you with a really tall order. Yes. They said, Nancie, we need you to make 10 pies for the month of November. Were there any parameters?
Well, yes, they always feature pies, and they wanted to sort of switch it up a little bit. So they said, we want each pie to be a signature of a particular southern state. So I had to give them a list, and they picked and chose, and it took me a little while, but it was so much fun to do. A pie with a story, a pie with a connection.
Well, we just saw the cover girl, and that was the Texas double-decker pecan cheesecake pie. Wow, that is a big name.
That is a cover girl.
That is a how did they pick her for the cover?
Well, I don't know that it is the Texas pie, and it was an editorial decision. So I'll just say I don't know, but I think they sure picked a beauty. People are in love with that cover.
And you picked a beauty for us today. Why did you choose persimmon pie for us?
Well, I'm from North Carolina, and that is the one. I did slide North Carolina in there. I gave them other choices, but wild persimmons are a signature of fall in North Carolina, and I've always loved making persimmon pudding and persimmon pies. And this time of year, I had brought some fresh ripe ones with me today. There's 3 kinds. Not everybody can go to a tree in North Carolina like I can. It's near an elementary school, and you can shake the tree a little bit, and if they're ripe, they fall to the ground from a great height.
How wonderful.
It is such a pleasure to go gather them, but you need a lot. You see how small they are.
So these are the wild North Carolina persimmons. What is this one?
This one is called a hachia. This is these two are Japanese traditional fruits that they grow all over the country. They're very different from each other. The hachia is soft when it's ripe, so you want it to almost be like a tomato.
Okay.
And the fuyu looks like a tomato, but it's firm. You eat it when it's firm, so it's a little bit confusing. But to work with them, this one you would just cut up and put in a blender and then push it through a sieve to get rid of the skin. This one you would treat like an apple. You'd scoop out that top, you'd peel the sides of it, and then chop it up and put it in a blender or a food processor and get a puree. Either way, you end up with just a nice, yummy goo.
So either way, this is what we're ending up with.
Exactly. Today we use fuyus. I think they're the easiest to find, and it looks like pumpkin.
It looks like
sweet
pumpkin.
potato pie filling.
Okay,
and
so we have a persimmon puree. Now what?
It's a 3-step recipe. This is the sugar, a little bit of flour, cinnamon, nutmeg, any spices that you like, and melted butter. And we mix the melted butter in. See, I say till it's like damp sand, so it's all sandy. Needs to be liquid. I'm going to put in evaporated milk, and would you pour in the eggs That's well-beaten eggs.
Oh, evaporated milk is delicious.
And you could use half and half, but evaporated milk is so old school. That's what my grandmother used. It's like I want to use what Grandma used. Getting a good review.
I'm feeling full up 'cause I haven't been exposed to persimmon that much, at least that I'm aware of.
It's interesting. Nancy and I were discussing this, that it's intimidating to people.
Exactly.
People don't know what to do with persimmon, but if you do exactly what she just told you to do, it's so simple to make, right?
Also, because we have 4 persimmon trees, Nancy and I were talking, and you can't really eat them. Eating them ripe is tricky because they give you that fuzzy tongue if they're not the right. So finding something to cook with them is great.
Exactly. It's going to be good. Look how beautiful. Look at those fall colors. I mean, that's gorgeous. It'll remind you. See how easy that was? We could do that with you could do it with a fork. You don't even have to have
and I would just like to remind everyone that this is going to be on our Home and Family Christmas cookbook as well online. You can find that at hallmarkchannel.com as well.
That's the one you just download with a click. And
yes,
all of our recipes.
There it is right there. So before we pour this in, Nancy, I want to talk to you about your pie crust, because we've had this discussion many times.
Yes.
You are very sought after home chef, I would say, and you don't like to make your own pie crust.
It's trouble. I know how. But this time of year especially, I'm in a hurry. And I've got 20,000 things to think of.
I love that.
And to me, pie is what's inside. Pie is the filling.
Yep.
Pie is apple pie, peach pie, pumpkin pie.
So how do you cheat?
I go right to the grocery store, and I go to the refrigerator section, and I get a pie crust that I can roll out here and make it fancy. They've got them in the freezer section.
Amen, Nancy.
That's pie crust.
Put some holes in it, and in it goes.
If somebody gives you a hard time, look how beautiful that is. If somebody gives you a hard time, I say, if you want to make a sandwich, do you go make bread or do you buy a loaf of bread?
Exactly.
I'm going to steal that line for everything.
You go.
I feel like that we should make a T-shirt that says "Pie is what's on the inside." That seems.
I like it. With the Home and Family logo.
Exactly.
That was the hard part, people.
Right now, pie is on the inside here, I'll tell you that.
How long does that go in?
This goes in at 375 for 30 minutes. But it's a 2-parter. So after 30 minutes, I want you to go to the refrigerator and bring our secret addition to this recipe. It's Thanksgiving. Magic.
I love. Do you like that sound?
Now streusel, if you've ever had a, like an apple crumb pie, this is a secret weapon that any baker, any cook would want to have in the fridge. It's basically cookie dough. It's butter and sugar, brown sugar, white sugar, the usual spices, and pecans. And you just mix it together, crumble it up. It needs about 2 hours to chill.
Okay.
You could keep it in the freezer. I make a double or triple batch and keep it in the freezer all the time.
You could put that on anything.
That's exactly right. Apple crumb pie. Now, instead of covering the pie with it, which of course you could do, it's delicious.
Oh no,
I'm going to. Oh, I'm so sorry. One on top. What we did was we put it on the pie.
Beautiful.
Love it.
I love this. And you could cover it, but I don't want you to for Thanksgiving because I want you to see this autumn color. It's so beautiful. You've got that crunch in the middle. You've got fun. This pie is still warm, and it's so delicious. You can make this a day ahead. If you make this on Wednesday, it'll be perfect on Friday. Just leave it out on the counter.
It doesn't have to go in the fridge. It's
exactly.
fine.
Now, before you get into that, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Because I know your real passion for food started with your grandma,
That's
right?
exactly right. I'm named for her.
Yes, and you watched more than she taught you. You really watched.
Oh, there's Grandma.
I think her name was Nancie Macaulay Lloyd Suit. This is a photograph of her with my mother. If you're looking at the picture, my mother's on the right, and my Aunt Mary Elizabeth is on the left. Oh. She and my grandfather had a dairy farm in North Carolina outside of Hillsborough, and she loved to cook. And even more than watching her, than learning the recipes, I knew from the time I was tiny how happy she was to be in the kitchen. She loved to cook. She loved to bake. Yeah. She let me help. She let me pretend help, and it gave me the sense that cooking is a way to have fun, bring people together, and enjoy. Okay. And her food was great.
All right. So, does she make her own pie crust?
Oh, she absolutely.
I'm just checking.
She's gone, and I'm just as glad I don't have to have her and see if there's any judgment. I will say, in my defense, that at that time there was no other choice. She was baking in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s.
I mean, she probably didn't even have a washing machine. She had to wash her own clothes by hand.
So exactly.
She was a woman of the modern time. She'd be buying store-bought crust.
And a little bit of extra goodness here.
Oh, why not?
Again, because it's a holiday.
Oh, even ice cream.
Yes, crumble.
Come on.
It's ready. This is ready to go.
Yes,
you're right.
Extra crumble.
All right.
All right, people.
Anybody
We're
else?
gonna give away 10 copies.
It's Thanksgiving. We're thankful.
We're thankful.
Okay.
10 copies of Nancie's book, Southern Pies, are going out to our viewers. Simply go to our Facebook page. All the details are waiting there for you. Connect with Nancie, by the way. She would love for you to do so on her social media sites and her website. Thank you so very much. All right, stick around. Fantastic show ahead. Life in Pieces, or in this case, it's Pie in Pieces. We're spending time with actress Giselle Eisenberg. She is here. She's back spending time with us. Guess what? She's hanging out with stars like James Brolin and Al Pacino, and they've taught her so much at just 10 years of age.
I mean, if you didn't feel bad about yourself after this segment, you will. Also, have you ever wanted to own an actual piece of Hollywood memorabilia? Who hasn't? Well, we are going to show you how you can do just that for less than you think it would cost.
And then we're coming back into the kitchen. It's going to become a clown car because we're going to have 6 sisters here. These 6 sisters who are preparing their favorite butternut squash bake, and they're going to share stories what it's like growing up in a very crowded house.
Yeah, very crowded, I'd say that. Plus, Ken is turning our favorite photos into a memorable a memorable game for the whole family.
Yes.
It is a gang.
It's good for gifts, and it's good for your noggin.
Wow.
Oh, Ken.
Wonderful. But next, Shirley has a gorgeous evergreen sleigh that's going to carry us right through the holidays. Hey, Shirley.
Hey guys, you won't believe how easy it is to glam up a very affordable sleigh for your outdoors for Christmas.